think it was sort of a consensus idea about doing this. I first pitched it to Tom, and at that time I had to give something a working title. Okay, it wasn't as if in a single track, but the concept. So initially, my concept for this was Northern Soul. Okay, well, because a couple of the first tracks that Tom mixed on, the very first track he mixed on this was Big Stone Wall.
No.
Okay? Yeah, I think it was before This Is the House, wasn't it? Yeah, wasn't it?
After
This
This Is the House.
This Is the House, and then Big Stone Wall,
yeah.
right? Okay. But anyway, so This Is the House happened to be a Northern Soul record in the UK. I'm talking Northern Soul UK. All right. So that's what led me down there, and then the second track was mixed. Okay, which may or may not have been a Northern Soul thing, could have been direct. But Ian Dewhurst, to his credit, said, "I understand, man, what you're trying to do with the idea of Northern Soul." But he said, and he brought up a very key thing. Northern Soul people, it's funny, we've been talking about 12-inch and 45s. He said, the Northern Soul audience has only been brought up with 45s, 7-inch singles. They don't know from 12-inch singles, right? They don't know about it. So, when you're pitching about Northern Soul, there's a bit of a complication here. You're doing long versions that the Northern Soul people, they're aficionados for 7-inch singles. Okay? So he says you're not going to maximize, I don't know from a marketing point of view, if we're going to be able to maximize it. He said, what do you think about something like Regrooved? So, and I think that's where the coupling came together with Philly Regrooved. And being that, that I've been representing Philly Groove for the past, 17 years or something like that, and the whole idea, and him doing now some mixes that were never done, never made in this form. I mean, we could probably go down that list, about ones that were, well, we talked about Going to Keep on Loving Him, Big Stone Wall, I almost...
Tapestry.
Yeah, Tapestry. And wait, there's a couple, Don't Put Me Down was not only not released in 45, was never released, period. Was it? What, Don't Put Me Down, other than I had
Why don't you tell them the part? I don't think this
No, well, yeah, I'll tell you.
I don't really think this
I
is
didn't.
right
That was
for
the one I
this.
was really. I'll tell you why I was nervous about Don't Put Me Down. Most of the stuff there is that Philadelphia sound / disco 70s.
Mm-hmm.
Don't Put Me Down, and it has more of a, I don't like to use this word, but a little more smooth, a little more slick, Philly arrangements and things like that, normal, voicing, strings, horns, la la la. Don't Put Me Down has got more of a funky edge to it, okay?
But that groove, I found one part from another tape, and that's what I use as the basic for the hook of the song, was that, because it sits in a pocket where it's just, you say, you got to be kidding. That timing is just, it's like, I mean, it just lays there and you go, damn, what is that? I mean, it just grabs you.
So for me, what I was nervous about,
was it was going to seem like...
I was worried it was going to be too harder edge, almost too
modern.
Not that it's hard, too modern. And I've said, but all these other tracks, you're bringing them up to date. You're giving them all the articulation that that you're going to take. But I was worried about this being a clash. So that was my thing. I mean, obviously, I eventually yielded because he convinced me. Actually, there were three.
No, but Ian did. But Ian wanted that other song in there, and that was the bridge.
Okay, but that ended up working out well. And there's also an anomaly on this CD. The last track, and believe me when I say this, and I'm not shy, and he'll be the first one to say that, admit it, or agree with that, but I was really playing it down. The song What You're Gonna Do is something that I wrote and produced with Norman Bergen. And I said when it first, and Tom didn't even know of this track, which I'll never understand why he didn't, because we've been so close for years, and it was something I did quite a long time ago. Ian Dewhurst was the one who mentioned it. He said, no, that track, I was just playing it on my radio show or something a few months ago, and I couldn't figure out what track he's even talking about. He says, I think it's something of yours. So finally when we nailed down what it was, I said, He said, no, let Tom mix it, because to make it really legitimate, first of all, it was recorded in Philadelphia. It was recorded and originally mixed in Philadelphia, so it wasn't like, but it was some. It wasn't part of the Philly Groove catalog. It was something of mine and Norman Bergen's. So I was very, as promoting oriented as I am, I was very reluctant, because I didn't want to think, oh, all of a sudden I'm trying to slip something in. But Ian was like really persistent about it, because he said, I think, along with what Tom's mentioning about Don't Put Me Down, and for different reasons and a totally different groove, he said, these two tracks could end up being real sales pitches for this album. Those two tracks. Okay? And Tom liked the track, and I wasn't even I wasn't hyping him on the track. He said, how come I never heard this track before of yours? He said, you hit me with every other damn thing you've got, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. He was just surprised, and he got into it. So that's a little, sort of backdrop on that track.
Right.
It's the only track that's really not part of the Philly Groove Records catalog.
But see, it's like but this is the house where love died. I've always loved that song, and Reed knows it too, and so that's why I got to do that one first. And there was another take there where Vince was playing something slightly different on the vibe. So what I did was I pinched that and combined it with the vibe he was playing on the master, and it sort of had this angelic harmonic. Don't ask me. I mean, I get these things where, like, I go, oh my God, it's like the angels hitting something. And it really stands out, that thing. If you're listening, even if you listen to it, so all of a sudden you hear this dun, dun, but it's the tone of the vibe. You go, how in the hell do you get that? And it's the combination of those two notes he hit.
The two different takes.
And I combined them together,
Nice.
to get that angelic tone. So, and I love stuff like that when it happens, I mean, I just picked up on it. And then, of course, the one I wanted to go after was Big Stone Wall, and I knew that would be the one that would get him to, like, oh yeah, we got to do a whole album like this. Because I've always loved Big Stone Wall, and my only complaint about it was 2 minutes and something.
It was a very short record.
Like 2 minutes and 14 seconds.
And
so.
even this, I remember saying, I said, geez, because his mix is only 4 something. So it's probably one of the shortest mixes on this album, isn't it?
I know, but it's still.
But I said to him, I said, Tom,
yeah.
you think it's long enough? He said, long enough. It's twice as long as the original. How much longer are you going to go with this?
There's only so much you can do with that little material.
See, like in a song, like I was never a big fan of Armed and Extremely Dangerous, and I think the reason I was never a fan of it was probably because of all, calling all cars, and
Gimmicky. It was gimmicky.
all that kind of stuff, and that kind of wears on me after a while, and that's the only reason I really never cared for it. And he kept pushing me. Oh, you got to do that.
Well, I was pushing, but I was also a little concerned. One of my concerns was this happened to be because I got involved in overseeing remixes about now 13 years ago. This song had already been remixed, so I was not by Tom, but I was a little nervous about. I know it's a commercial. It's one of the Philly Groove. Let's call it one of the marquee records on Philly Groove. But at the same time, I was a little nervous about it because of it had been exposed previously. Okay, but he was confident in doing it. I said, go for it. And I will say, from early, the album isn't even at this taping, it's not even released. But there is a DJ, a radio DJ, and a blogger who happened to hear it. He says, and his initial comment was, "And Armed and Extremely Dangerous is one of my favorites. It's never sounded like this." So and
And of course, everybody loves the last 30 seconds.
Oh, they love. He put a part on there that was on the tag of the tape that was never even used. Nobody ever knew it existed.
See, I could have built a whole thing around that, and I went, no.
I was trying to push him to do it, but he said, "Don't
but that's
do it."
overkill. No, because I mean, sometime I may do a 12-inch and take that and
do something with it.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing was, forgot what I was going to say now.
Where did you find this last bit?
It was on the tape. You know. Same place.
It was never anybody. Nobody just. They just when anybody mixed it previously, the tape stopped. That was enough. It
see, I like
and
see Reed and I have been friends a long time, and Reed would say, you know, since I have your catalog, he says, so and so wants to mix your song. Do you mind?
He's talking about
No.
his catalog now
No.
that I represent.
No, I don't mind. And he said, oh, I'm going to have so and so mix this. You know, some of the hot new guys. And I says, fine. And all I kept saying to myself was, better them than me. You know, because I was busy doing everybody else's stuff. And I says, one of these days, Rita's going to come around and say, geez, Tom, I think maybe you better start mixing some of this
Right.
stuff again.
Which is
how this
Which
happened.
leads right
I went,
into that.
I said, well, I've avoided it all these years. I said, I guess you might as well do it to me now. So.
right.
If you don't